Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Continuance in time. He complained about the length of time required. Size of the gap between two places. He determined the length of the shortest line segment joining the 2 points. A section of something that is long and narrow. A length of timber. The linear extent in space from one end to the other. The longest dimension of something that is fixed in place. The length of the table was 5 feet. The property of being the extent of something from beginning to end. The editor limited the length of my article to 500 words. The property of enduring or continuing in time. Continuance in time. The ceremony was of short duration. The period of time during which something continues. Go far ahead of. He outdistanced the other runners. Size of the gap between two places. The distance from New York to Chicago. The interval between two times. The distance from birth to death. Indifference by personal withdrawal. Emotional distance. A distant region. I could see it in the distance. A remote point in time. If that happens, it will be at some distance in the future. Keep at a distance. We have to distance ourselves from these events in order to continue living. The property created by the space between two objects or points. A property relating to time. The actual state of affairs. That's the size of the situation. Any glutinous material used to fill pores in surfaces or to stiffen fabrics. Size gives body to a fabric. A large magnitude. He blanched when he saw the size of the bill. Cover or stiffen or glaze a porous material with size or sizing, a glutinous substance. Make to a size, bring to a suitable size. Sort according to size. The physical magnitude of something, how big it is. A wolf is about the size of a large dog. The property resulting from being one of a series of graduated measurements, as of clothing. He wears a size 13 shoe. Used in combination, size. The economy size package. A self-contained part of a larger composition, written or musical. He always turns first to the business section. A specialized division of a large organization. She got a job in the historical section of the Treasury. The cutting of or into body tissues or organs, especially by a surgeon as part of an operation. Geometry, the area created by a plane cutting through a solid. One of the portions into which something is regarded as divided and which together constitute a whole. The finance section of the company. A small class of students who are part of a larger course but are taught separately. A graduate student taught sections for the professor's lecture course. Divide into segments. One of several parts or pieces that fit with others to constitute a whole object. A section of a fishing rod. A distinct region or subdivision of a territorial or political area or community or group of people. No section of the nation is more ardent than the South. A division of an orchestra containing all instruments of the same class. A land unit equal to 1 square mile. A segment of a citrus fruit. He ate a section of the orange. A small army unit usually having a special function. A small team of policemen working as part of a police platoon. A very thin slice, of tissue or mineral or other substance, for examination under a microscope. Sections from the left ventricle showed diseased tissue. Divide into segments. Segment an orange. One of several parts or pieces that fit with others to constitute a whole object. Finished the final segment of the road. Divide or split up. The cells segmented. One of the parts into which something naturally divides. A segment of an orange. One of the four quantities that are the basis of systems of measurement. One of the four quantities that are the basis of systems of measurement. A construct whereby objects or individuals can be distinguished. Magnitude or extent. Indicate the dimensions on. These techniques permit us to dimension the human heart. One of three Cartesian coordinates that determine a position in space. Shape or form to required dimensions. The magnitude of something in a particular direction, especially length or width or height. Any property used to characterize matter and energy and their interactions. The distance or area or volume over which something extends. The vast extent of the desert. The point or degree to which something extends. The extent of the damage. A Gestalt principle of organization holding that there is an innate tendency to perceive a line as continuing its established direction. The act of continuing an activity without interruption. A part added to a book or play that continues and extends it. The consequence of being lengthened in duration. The attribute of being brief or fleeting. An impermanence that suggests the inevitability of ending or dying. The property of being, or seeming to be, without end. An abrupt discourteous manner. The property of being truncated or short. The condition of being short of something. There was no shortness of money. The property of being of short spatial extent. The shortness of the channel crossing. The property of being of short temporal extent. The shortness of air travel time. The property of being shorter than average stature. The attribute of being brief or fleeting. The use of brief expressions. The property of not existing for indefinitely long durations. The property of not existing for indefinitely long durations. The attribute of being brief or fleeting. The temporal property of being very short. Amount or degree or range to which something extends. The consequence of being lengthened in duration. Duration as an extension. The property of being of long spatial extent. One gene causes shortness and the other causes longness. The property of being able to exist for an indefinite duration. The property of being able to exist for an indefinite duration. The act of prolonging something. The consequence of being lengthened in duration. Amount or degree or range to which something extends. The act of prolonging something. There was an indefinite prolongation of the peace talks. The consequence of being lengthened in duration. Linear distance between the extremities of an airfoil. Distance between the tips of the wings, as of a bird or insect, when fully extended. A distance sufficient to exclude intimacy. Judge tentatively or form an estimate of quantities or time. A measuring instrument for measuring and indicating a quantity such as the thickness of wire or the amount of rain, etc. Accepted or approved instance or example of a quantity or quality against which others are judged or measured or compared. Diameter of a tube or gun barrel. Adapt to a specified measurement. Gauge the instruments. Determine the capacity, volume, or contents of by measurement and calculation. Gauge the wine barrels. Measure precisely and against a standard. The wire is gauged. Mix in specific proportions. Gauge plaster. Rub to a uniform size. Gauge bricks. The distance between the rails of a railway or between the wheels of a train. The thickness of wire. A part of a forked or branching shape. A prosthesis that replaces a missing leg. A section or portion of a journey or course. A cloth covering consisting of the part of a pair of trousers that covers a person's leg. A human limb. Commonly used to refer to a whole limb but technically only the part of the limb between the knee and ankle. A structure in animals that is similar to a human leg and used for locomotion. Nautical. The distance traveled by a sailing vessel on a single tack. One of the supports for a piece of furniture. The limb of an animal used for food. Distance measured in terms of the speed of light, or radio waves. The light time from Jupiter to the Sun is approximately 43 minutes.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.